What's up, Liron here, and in this episode of The Paint Show, we're going to look at Alizarin Crimson by Daniel Smith. What's up, Liron here. Thank you for joining me in another episode of The Paint Show. This painting at the back has nothing to do with the episode. It was just here, so I thought it would be a nice view, a nice background. If you've been following me on Instagram, you've probably seen this process in the making, and I hope you enjoyed this one. So in any case, today's episode of The Paint Show, we're going to look at Alizarin Crimson by Daniel Smith. This one I got, here we go, you can see it now. I got it in the US when I visited Ohio. Got it from Pat Catan's, I think, together with two other paints, which are the Nickel Azo Yellow that I reviewed for you, and also Phthalo Blue that I already reviewed in the past. But I just got an extra tube because I'm using the hell out of that paint. So today we have Alizarin Crimson, which is very different from what I've been showing you here because for the most part, at least, I'm trying to get paints that I will use a lot and I can count on. With this one, I don't trust it. It's fugitive. So that's the thing with Alizarin Crimson, true Alizarin Crimson. It's very fugitive. Like this one, it does have a few characteristics that make it desirable just because it's beautiful. It has a strong color. It's transparent. It's a beautiful color in itself, but the thing is, you can't rely on it not fading in light, and the light fastness is terrible. But it is an interesting paint to check out and to have kind of a contrasting view of a paint that we don't normally see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch the camera. I'm going to give you a more up-close view of this one, and we're going to talk a bit about the characteristics, and then we'll move on to the demo. I'll probably not use this one for final pieces because I don't want them to fade, but I will use it just for my own practice and maybe even to do some experimentation with light fastness. So in any case, I hope you're going to enjoy this one. Let's get started. Okay, so here's a better look at the tube. I also got some paint information down here, and I know it's out of focus because we're focusing on the tube now. I'm going to show it to you in a better view soon. So Alizarin Crimson by Daniel Smith. This is one of the first professional grade paints, artist grade paints that I get that are really not light fast. It's a Series 1 paint. Light fastness is, I believe I don't know the number, but it is fugitive, okay? The IV, I'm really bad with Roman letters. So, yep, Series 1, we said the pigment is PR83, which is, in fact, Alizarin Crimson. It's the real Alizarin Crimson pigment. A beautiful tube, as always. I love Daniel Smith's tubes and design, and it's fun. I find that sometimes this color isn't a good indication of what the color inside looks, so I wouldn't trust that, but it's just, I think, beautiful. So in any case, now let's look at some information. We'll allow a moment of focus, and the pigment is PR83, as I mentioned, Series 1. It is transparent, it is staining and very strong. It says, I read on handprint or somewhere else, it has strong tinting capabilities. It is non-granulating, like many reds and yellows. Like most, I would say. It is fugitive, so that's the light fastness. I'm not sure if that's a 4 or a 6. I know V is 5. So in any case, now we can move on, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. So I have this scrap piece of paper, and we're gonna take it straight out of the tube, okay? So I'm just gonna zoom in a bit, and I want you to see what it looks like out of the tube, because every paint behaves a little differently. So some spill out immediately, others are a little harder. So I don't know why, but the Alizarins and the quinacridones tend to be okay. So this one is quite chunky actually, which is good. Okay, so we've got a clean chunk. I thought it's going to be more liquid. It seems like it has a very strong value range because it's very dark now. I'm going to try and rebalance the thing here. So it's a bit hard to see. I'm going to change things around a little, and then you'll be able to better tell what this looks like, and then we can try it out as well. Okay, so let's get started here, and if you can't tell what it looks like this, I'm going to try and hold it up to the camera, but if not, I'm going to make sure that when I edit it, it'll look a little clearer. What we can do is reactivate it like this, so you can get a better view, at what it looks like. Very vibrant, really reminds me of quinacridone rose as well, so already I think we're okay with replacing this one. But in any case, let's do a bit of a swatching here and just see what we get and what it looks like. So I left a lot of space this time because I do want to get a really good close-up of what this looks like. And I could definitely understand the appeal. It's beautiful. It's really a beautiful, beautiful red. For the rightmost part, I'm gonna try and make it really almost straight out of the tube so you can see how strong it is. It's just beautiful. I can understand why people who really love colors would be attracted to this one. For me, again, it doesn't matter. I'm more of a practical guy, so I'll be okay with any paint really. Just give me 3 tubes and I'm gonna be fine. But it is beautiful. So I'm gonna try and do a bit of a wet and wet here. It's gonna buckle my paper just a little bit, but that's fine. Water is a bit contaminated by the paint. I'm gonna get some of that here. Let it flow around a bit. See what we get. Loose hand, loose and fun. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I can really be loose and enjoy the paint really. When art is your job, when art becomes your work, you have to constantly remind yourself that it still should be fun. Yeah, so that's important. So here we go, just a few quick swishes. Very beautiful. I like how it disperses evenly. We get a bit of a background here, which is nice. Now I'm gonna do a bit of dry brush as the tradition dictates. Very, very beautiful paint. Now what I would be curious to know is how it mixes with others. So I'm just gonna clean a section of my palette here. I'm gonna do this handheld. I don't think we don't have to be fancy. So I'm gonna grab some phthalo blue here, because that's the main one intuitively I want to try out. So if I put a bit of that here, then add a bit of this one. This is very, very, very similar to quinacridone rose, and I would use quinacridone rose PV19 without a second thought. In the case of it being fugitive and all of that and the worries that come along with it, I wouldn't bother with this one, even though it's beautiful. I mean, I don't want to bash it or anything. It's just, you know, it's just a problem if your painting is gonna change with time. But yeah, but it's still beautiful. Let's try out, as usual, some French ultramarine, which I also have here on my palette, handy right next to the phthalo blue. What I love about phthalo blue that I don't like as much about French ultramarine is that it's re-wets much more easily, and it's very strongly pigmented much more easily. But sometimes you can just spray a bit of water on all of the palette and it reawakens it really nicely. Like in this example, it reawakened pretty nicely. So here is some very fresh French ultramarine. I'm gonna grab some red and add to that. Maybe even, now it's mixed with the, let's do it here. A bit of this, a bit of that. We'll get a beautiful, beautiful mix. This is a beautiful, kind of reminds me of the Carbazole Violet. Works really well. Let's try out a yellow of some sorts. So let's do, and I have a lot of paint here. I took out a lot of paint. Let's do a bit of, I'm gonna try something interesting, you know what? I'm gonna put a bit of red here. Then I'm gonna try adding a bit of the nickel azo yellow that I got together with this one. Let's just get some of its pure consistency, and this is what we get. They work beautifully together. And I could try, let's see how some burnt sienna, also Daniel Smith, will work with that. If I get a bit of burnt sienna here, let these two mix. Yeah, so that's nice. I want to see another thing. If I use something like sap green, it should probably negate the red and create this kind of a gray. So this is what I'm gonna do here. So a bit of, sorry, went into the phthalo, went straight into the blue without noticing. So a bit of the green, I can do that here. I'm not fancy, as you can see, just do it wherever there's place. Then I'm gonna grab some of that, and we will get, they should neutralize each other to some extent. Not perfectly, you see there's a bit of a brown that was created here. So this is what you would expect when you mix it with different colors. Sap green is really, in itself, you can ignore that. But this is what you get, and let me hold it up so you can better see some of the details. Sorry about the beeping, we're really close to several main streets here, so there's always going to be a bit of noise. So here's the final result we got using this, Alizarin Crimson, Daniel Smith. Here's the tube once again, just to show you. This is actually pretty accurate. It's similar to what it looks like on paper. So in any case, yeah, this is it. Not gonna be my go-to, but it is beautiful. Like I can see how beautiful the color itself is, and if you're unlucky to have this as like your favorite and you can't use anything else but it, then you're in trouble. But using a replacement of like PV19 or anything like that would work perfectly fine. I'm still wondering what I'm going to use this one for, so we'll see. Maybe I'll have a creative idea for it. We'll have to wait and see. So in any case, this is it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and now we can wrap it up. So this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Paint Show and seeing Alizarin Crimson. Beautiful, beautiful color. I wish it was light fast, but there are alternatives. They're not as beautiful, honestly, but still, like the quinacridone rose and all the Alizarin Crimson permanents and all of that. My current favorite is the Alizarin Crimson by SAA that I got, the permanent Alizarin Crimson, which is beautiful, and also the quinacridone Rose by Daniel Smith, which is more of a violet. It's PV19, I believe, yeah. And this one is PR, it's red. You could combine the other one with Perylene Red and then achieve something that's similar to this, but it just goes to show you why some paints are still desirable despite having a lot of things that aren't as useful about them. So in any case, I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Paint Show, and thank you so much for following. Let me know if there's a paint you want me to review. I know Moonglow, I'm gonna get to it. And aside from that, if there's anything else you want me to do, any topic you want me to cover, if this happens to be the first video of me that you watch, then definitely check out the rest of this playlist of The Paint Show and also other episodes. I have other shows and other types of content. I have a lot of full tutorials and videos outside and videos inside, painting masters where I show paintings by artists that I admire and I look up to and review them. And this is it. Thank you so much for watching and for your support, and I will talk to you again, and I will see you again in another vid real soon.